Hi everybody, this is independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Amy Rich with you for another alternate paper pumpkin project. And I'm excited to share this one with you. It's super cute, super springy, and that's just what we need right now. So let's not hesitate any longer and get over to the stamping table and get to work. February's paper pumpkin kit is super cute. And today I'm going to share with you an alternate project using things other than the animals. And actually this time I don't have a whole lot of extra supplies that I'm using, but I am using the Pierced Blooms dies from the annual catalog, as well as some ribbon and some of our classic matte dots from the January to June mini catalog 2022. So let's get started so that you can see what we're doing. These are the supplies from the kit that I will be using today. And let me just move some things out of the way. I think the first thing we're going to do is stamp our sentiment. So I'm going to grab You Did It from here. You can choose something else that's going to fit on your circle if you wish, but I'm choosing You Did It. And I may use this for a graduation card for some of my daughter's friends. It's going to be flowery, but I think that's okay for the girls. I think they'll like it. So I'm just going to stamp You Did It across that center section where there are no lines, just like that. And if you're using the stamp set for the first time, one thing I do notice is that the ink bubbles a little bit on the stamp. So go ahead and stamp off on it once and then ink it again, and you'll get a better image. And then while we have, that's it for the stamping. But while we have our envelope out here, I'm just going to carefully take it apart. And don't worry if you rip some. There's going to be plenty of space to use this. And what we're going to do is cut a 3.5-inch square out of this. So I'm going to grab my trimmer, and I think the easiest way is to first trim the top off of it, the end you seal, and then flip it around, and now we'll line that end that I just cut at 3.5 inches and make a cut. And then we'll just cut inside the scored line so that we have another straight edge. And then we'll cut that at 3.5 as well. All right, so we've got our 3.5-inch square, and then we're going to cut it on the diagonal. So put it in point to point, and then we'll cut our 2 triangles like this. And then you're going to take this end, one of those triangles, and we're going to line the point up in the cutting groove and the flat edge on the flat edge of our trimmer. And we're going to cut that into 2 other triangles. And then we're done with that part and can put that away. Next, we're going to take our yellow card base and we're going to flip it to the white side. It's going to be easier to see this way for one. And then using a pencil and a ruler, I'm going to mark the center of the short side. So the short side is 5.5 inches, which makes the center 2 3/4. So I'm just going to put a little tick mark there. And then I'm going to turn it and do the same thing on this edge over here. So I'm going to go up to 2 3/4 here. And then I will do the same thing over here on the other side and go up to 2 3/4 on this side. So 2 3/4 is the main measuring point for this card. And then bringing in my trimmer again, because I use my trimmer as a scoring tool, especially when I'm doing it on camera, because my Simply Scored works great when I'm just working on my own, but a lot of times I like to have just my trimmer out. And I'm going to line up those score marks, or those tick marks, and I'm going to make a score line there. and we're gonna do it the same on the other side. So let's line up those 2 tick marks. And then don't forget, if you're using your trimmer, not to cut. Use that light colored blade for a light touch, which is our scoring blade. And the darker one is a heavier touch, which is our cutting blade. So if you remember, light means scoring. That'll help you out in the future, hopefully, unless you get going and goof that up. So let's flip this. We're gonna fold it as normal. And I like to use my bone folder to make sure it's a nice crisp crease. And then we are going to flip up those corners. So I've got one on this side and one on this side, and they should pretty much meet. If you're off by a little bit, don't lose sleep over it. It's okay. We're gonna cover up any issues there. Then we're gonna bring back these triangles, and taking the largest triangle, that is what's gonna fit right in here. So once we add this triangle to these 2 pieces, it's gonna hold that down and together just fine. So what I'm going to do is add my adhesive here. You could certainly add it to the back of your triangle. And just remember to leave a little bit of space for those white borders. All right, so I'm just going to adhere that down. And I'm a little off, but I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. And then one other thing I like to do when I am adhering triangles, which I probably should have had out for the large one, but I like to use my silicone crafting sheet so that I can get all the way to those corners. And then we're gonna add those smaller triangles then to the corners of the card right down here like this. So essentially we're creating a little pocket here and then decorative corners on the bottom. So like I said, a lot of the supplies we're using today come right from the kit, and that makes it really easy to duplicate because you don't have to have a bunch of other supplies handy. Okay, cute, right? So far so good. Then we're gonna take our leaves, and I'm gonna start with the, I think it's Pear Pizzazz or Old Olive. And what I want to do is on the back of this, I'm going to put just a few dimensionals. And if you have the dimensionals from the kit, that works out great. But I'm going to actually grab some of my mini Stampin' Dimensionals because they fit on the backs of these leaves really well. And then the other thing is there's this huge border. And I like to take, for little stuff like this, I like to just cut a skinny portion of it, and then I'm going to cut a bunch of these at once because we'll need them for all the leaves, all 3 of them. So I'm just going to cut a bunch of these border pieces, and then we'll add those. And actually you don't need to put dimensionals on the whole back of the whole thing. We're only going to put it on the top portion of the leaves. So I'm going to skip a leaf and then put it on the next one, and then I'm not going to worry about it from there. Those are the only ones I'm going to use. So it's not too bad. It's not like you're using a ton of them, but it's just enough to make sure the lift stays. And then you can simply do that for your adhesive and end it there. You can also add a little glue if you want to, but I'm gonna end it there, and I'm just gonna stick this up inside the pocket of my card, just like that, so that it peeks up over the front triangle. We'll do the same thing with the other 2 leaves here. So we'll add those dimensionals in the same way and add them to the pocket. So I'll put this one over here next, and then we'll finish off with the other green one. Okay, so we've got our 3 leaves in there, and then we have a couple of little sprigs of color here with Old Olive or Pear Pizzazz. I can't remember which color comes in here. And then the rich raspberry. But remember, if you don't know your colors that are in the kit, you just go back here and it's Pear Pizzazz. Look on the back of the instruction card, which is perfect. And then I'm just going to grab a little bit of liquid glue to adhere these into place. Next, we're going to add our little circle, and it's going to sit off of the triangle a little bit. So make sure to only put adhesive in that upper right-hand corner or section. Now we're going to really pretty it up with our fresh freesia and rich raspberry flowers cut from the Pierced Blooms dies. And I'm going to start with my larger fresh freesia ones. And we'll use the larger dimensionals for these. So I'll flip them all to the back and put one dimensional on the back of each one. And then we'll put these into place. So I'm going to put one over here on this side. And then one more over here. And, oh, the other one stuck to me. I was wondering where that went. And then the other one kind of in the middle there. And we can overlap. That looks really pretty. And then we'll add the rich raspberry ones. I do like to add a little bit of 3D effect by just curling the petals a teeny bit. And then for this one, I decided to bring in my black mini dimensionals because it's a darker paper than, you know, we don't see that stark white sticking out from behind the flower. So we'll put one black dimensional on the back of each. The black dimensionals come in a pack of mini and regular together in the same package. And then we're just going to add these. Pop those in. And then the final thing, not the final thing, but we're going to grab these classic matte dots from the mini catalog. And we're going to take the smallest ones and just two of those, and we're going to put them into place right here on our rich raspberry flowers. Ha, so cute. Now the last thing is to grab some of our fresh freesia open weave ribbon. And I like to take two of them because it just amplifies the prettiness, I guess, if you use two. And it makes it a little more full. If you have trouble tying a bow with two pieces of ribbon together, just go ahead and do one. It's not going to matter. It's going to be pretty. And I'm going to pull these loops pretty tight or pretty small. And then we're going to take let me just keep playing with these for a second. This is how I operate. I pull, I tighten, I pull. And then we'll use a mini glue dot to adhere that onto our card. And we'll do that right up here. Just like that. It's so cute. And then we'll trim these way short. And then it is a done deal. And there you go. This is our alternate project for February's amazing paper pumpkin kit. And I can't wait to share another with you coming up later on for the March kit. I will see you then.